I've realized that in some shape or form, I need Fearless Vampire Killers to be in my life. So I can't really see a world where it won't be again, in whatever it might be, whether we're making a short film together one day and scoring it, or whether we're like, right, doing a new album or doing another tour, whatever it might be.
Hey guys, James Wilson Taylor here for Rock Sound. Now, Fearless Vampire Killers are back. It's very exciting news. I'm delighted to here now to tell us on Zoom all about it. We've got Kier and Laurence from the band. How are you guys?
All right.
Good, very good. Thank you.
Good to see you both. Good to see you both. What an exciting moment to catch you in. There's a show tonight, which by the time people see this, people will know all about. But before we get to that, just tell me a little bit about why now, I suppose. This is kind of the obvious question, isn't it? When did this come back together again? When was this decision made that now was the right time for the return of the band?
It's been in the works for a while, hasn't it? But we just, but things have happened around the world that haven't exactly made it possible.
Yeah, it was probably, I would say, late 2019 that we first started discussing, getting back together. And me and Kier met up, we started recording songs. We even had band practices, and then coronavirus happened, and it was kind of everything was stopped in its tracks. So, we couldn't actually get on with doing what we wanted to. So, but it was kind of good because it gave us a lot of space to kind of make sure that this is definitely something that we wanted to do.
As for why now, I think, I don't know, like, time apart and time away from Fearless Vampire Killers kind of made us realize what we were missing out on in various ways, like creatively and like the bond that we had as friends as well. And for me, that like there was a few catalysts over time. So firstly, I was a bit lonely, like not like I didn't have friends, but there's a difference between having like friends that you have and having these people that you've shared this completely unique experience with. Another thing was the world itself has kind of got to a point where increasingly I just felt like it needed something like Fearless Vampire Killers to exist again. I'm not putting like too much importance on our own thing, like as in Fearless Vampire Killers is here to save the world. That's not it.
But that's the headline. No, I'm having that. That's the headline.
No.
I think it's escapism, isn't it? We talked about it the other day, didn't we, Beveridge? It's like if there's one thing that people need right now, I think in some regards it's definitely the ability to like escape from the world, even just for a few minutes and enjoy something. So it's kind of how it felt.
Yeah, no, that makes so much sense, especially as, you know, I mean, I'm not sure how much I'm allowed to say at this point or whatever, but I have heard some new music. And the fact is, it's like I've heard 2 tracks here and they do fit in so well, like you say, into what a lot of people do. I don't think it's a coincidence that a lot of this, like you say, escapist kind of dramatic, whatever phrase we want to use, but that style of music is increasingly becoming much more in the mainstream once again. And I think, like you say, is the kind of perfect moment for that. Before we get into the tracks, like I say, there's going to be a surprise gig tonight at the time of recording, which everyone will know about by the time this goes out. Tell me a little bit about getting back into that rehearsal process and kind of picking a set list and all that kind of stuff. How do you prepare for a gig like this that's your first one back after a little while?
Long.
Well, set list wise, we actually we just put out a poll or something on Twitter, seeing whose favorite songs were ages ago, potentially years ago, I think. And we built a lot of it from what people's favorite songs were, which were obviously quite strange songs. And they're not always the singles and stuff. So we tried our best to fit as many of those in as we could. And obviously we wanted to play at least one new song because I didn't want this to be like a complete nostalgia fest where we just come back and we just go through the old songs. And everyone, bands often do that. A lot of bands, they come back, but they don't really move on. And if they do release a song, it's something really safe. We wanted to do something like that to present one of the new songs. But when it comes to like learning to play the instruments again, I hadn't played the guitar really for about 5 years. So I'd done a gig with Broken Kings, but I was playing very basic chords. But like the stuff we play in Fearless Vampire Killers, lots of people might think, when they think of Fearless Vampire, oh, it's just like a pop punk rock but goth band with simple chords. But we play like crazy stuff, and it's really hard to then pick that back up again. So practicing every day for the past like month, really, to try and just remember how to get. Eventually, the ghosts of the fingers come back and they start telling you where to go, but it takes a while.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I imagine a lot of bands can relate to that as well, right? Because we've all been kind of
cut off
away to some degree because of COVID. And I think it's not just remembering how to play the music, it's remembering how to be a performer as well, and remembering how to kind of exist in that world and project. So we'll see tonight, really. I mean, maybe it'll come back and it'll be all natural, but it really is like kind of, I'm kind of both like completely like massively excited and also slightly like intrepid. Is that the right word to use?
Intrepid's a good word. I think a little bit intrepid's okay.
I don't want to say like I'm not looking forward to it, because I am, because that's the main thing. But there's always this kind of like, oh God, how do I do this? How do I do this?
What must be nice, I suppose, as well, is when you announce a comeback like this, and you got the show in Camden tonight, like we keep saying, it's the fact that it was under a different name. It was all very secretive. It was all very cloak and dagger. But your fans, as ever, cracked the code straight away, and we can see how hyped they are for this. Like, that's got to be an immediate boost. It's like, oh right, we're back, and they are ready for this, right?
Yeah, it's quite scary though, because the reason we did the secret gig was because we didn't necessarily know whether we'd be able to do a bigger gig. So we did a secret gig because we were talking about doing like a gig with like a few hundred people, like maybe even 1,000 people if we could manage that. But it just seemed quite scary. So we did this secret gig as a way of doing it without people knowing it was us. But we thought, we need at least some people there. We need at least 10, 20 people there. So we'll do something quite obscure that no one would notice. And we were worried that no one would see it because we didn't know how I think it's Facebook advertising that really did it in for us, because we had this bio of this fake band and someone recognized this just looks too familiar. And then they read the bio and it was one word that set a lot of people off, where Drew had called something our grand dominance. And we did have a world called Grand Domino that we created. So that's that. But we did that because we were so worried that no one would find out. I don't think we realized that our fans were still so in touch as they were. We thought, this is 5 years. Many of them have probably moved on with their lives, But so it's so incredibly heartening to see that they still love the music. And it's incredible. Yeah. But it's kind of backfired because we were hoping, well, I guess some of us were hoping in the back of our heads, we want to play a sold out show. But then some of us were also thinking, if there's 30, 40 people there, and then everyone gets hyped up because then the few people that were there then talk about it. But now that it's sold out and everyone basically knows it's us, it's just kind of, it feels like the whole machine is taking off without us, which we just have to, I guess, either go with or try and slow it down. But I'm really sort of excited for it. And the fact that the tickets sold out in a day is just a testament for our, as soon as someone worked out it was us. Before that, it was nothing. And then as soon as someone worked it out, it was us, they sold out. But we did keep them guessing because we released fake songs for the fake band. Drew wrote, and they were confused because Drew's the bass player and they were hearing his voice and they were saying, hang on a minute, have we got this wrong? Is this just Drew's solo act? And so we were going to try and propagate that myth and try and make that a bit more real.
I'm still going to propagate that myth, I think.
We're still trying. I'm going to try and convince Drew to just go on and do one song before we play.
Ultimate trolling right there.
Yeah, and just see, and then we'll be like, no, we're just here to support Drew. And And we said, like, he's got to bring a little drum machine along, just him, a bass and a drum machine. And we're just there sort of clapping along.
Enter from the bar at the back, just like, oh yeah, we're just here to check it out. Yeah.
It'll be quite difficult because there'll be T-shirts that says Fearless Vampire Killers present After the Flames. So we're past that now, sadly. But yeah, it's great fun. It's great.
Oh, great fun. Like I say, so the fans seem to have got a real kick out of it. I'm sure they'll definitely get a kick out of it tonight. We keep mentioning the new music. Let's get into it a little bit. Again, I don't know how much I like to say, but you're playing at least one new song tonight, right? So the two I've heard, I'll just mention them and we'll see if I get in trouble or not. Beautiful, then I will. Let's start with Delicate then. Big, strong banger, very much in that kind of like, I could see this being like, is this going to be the first kind of drop from this and all this kind of stuff? Is this the one you're playing tonight by any chance?
No, it's going to be a double A side.
Oh, you're playing the other one. Oh, we'll come into that in a second because that's fascinating. Right. So let's start with Delicate then, because I guess that is the more kind of the obvious, like, here's a big banger, here's a big rock song to kind of kick things back into gear. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about where that one kind of came together.
Well, I mean, actually, I think I'll just give you the kind of the background on it. So at first, like, me and Laurence were just writing songs and different stuff came out. And then later on, like extra members, other members of the band were getting more involved and things like that. And that's how Something Terminal came around. But the reason you kind of like, you've actually confirmed what I thought in a lot of ways, because we're deliberately doing a double A side, both Delicate and Something Terminal. And the reason for that is because me personally, especially when bands come back, people like to put them in one of two boxes. They like to either go, oh, they've gone really boring and normal and safe, or they've disappeared up their own arse and they're like really experimental. So I was like, if we just do both of those things, if we just write like, we hadn't planned it when we were writing them, we just wrote some songs. But if we release two songs at the same time that are both straight up 3.5 minute, rock banger and a 9-minute epic.
I think Delicate was a reaction to Something Terminal because we'd already started recording Something Terminal. So we I think Kier's definitely in the band. He's the most sort of rock orientated, I would think, when it comes to classic rock bands. He likes pop rock hits. So I think when we started to see that Something Terminal wasn't ending, because we recorded it and it just kept getting longer. I think Kier thought, okay, great. I need to pull something out that we can also offer for anyone that doesn't have, that time, because you need a whole lunch break to listen to that song. So Kier had this riff that was just the basic Delicate, the beginnings of it, and he just played that. And then the thing with me and Kier is, anyone in the band, but especially me and Kier, is we can sit in a room and just write a song without even thinking about it. It's very straightforward. And the odd thing is, we never did that in Fearless Vampire Killers. We only did that when we were kids, when we were really young. But during Fearless Vampire Killers, we all became sort of like, we all thought that we were sort of masters of music, and we wouldn't work together very well. So Drew would write his songs, Kier would write his songs, I would write my songs, Luke would write his song, Shane would write his song. Towards the end of Fearless Vampire Killers, we started to merge again, but by that point it was too late, because the deep rot had set in. But anyway, when me and Kier made up and hugged and everything and cried, and Kier just said, look, I've got this great producer, Sam Kramer, who's just amazing. He's like a foil to whatever, when people say that they can just work with someone and it's seamless. I got in the studio with Kier and him, and we just started writing songs. And it was like we were sort of, I don't know, 13 again. And we were just coming up with ideas and making them work. And Delicate is one of those. Kier come in with a riff. We just started carrying on writing. Sam pops in ideas. Okay, we need a chorus. We want a big sort of beefy sort of Taking Back Sunday style chorus. Bang, let's write one. And then you don't even think about it. It was so seamless. And so I think when we started seeing that, that's when I said to the guys, you've got to get in the studio with us, because it's an amazing experience that we'd never had before. The studio had always been this sort of restrictive rush. We'd get in there. We've only got 500 quid. We've got to record this song now because we had our own label, you see. So we never had enough time. We're always against the clock, desperately trying to record. But Sam Kramer has just given us this space, and it's a magical thing. And so, yeah, Delicate come out of that, really. Anything else, Kier?
No, that's it, mate. You nailed it.
Nailed it, buddy. Nailed it. Well, no, it is absolutely, like you say, it's the two sides of the coin. I think it's really exciting to come back with a double A side like this. Yeah. Let's get into something terminal then as well, because I mean, like you say, it's an 8-minute epic, and funnily enough, weirdly, as much as we're like, this is a big epic song, and it absolutely is, it does fit in with the current climate of music in a weird way as well. Isn't it weird how everything's sort of come around to that kind of big epic Jim Steinman indebted Queen gang vocals, big changes in instrumentation all over the place. It's lovely. I imagine an absolute effort to put this one together live as well in the best possible way. This is going to be a fun one to play tonight, right?
Yeah,
it's been a challenge.
We've kind of we've stripped it down, haven't we, Kier? We've made it. It's the same length, but it's more of a classic rock song rather than, because the recording obviously starts off quite electronic. Then it goes quite sort of punk poppy, and then it goes sort of very odd, and then you've got the sort of the Elton John sort of ballady middle eight, and like you say, the Jim Steinman sort of stuff. And it's what we've done is we've turned it into an FEK song for now, because I want to obviously, if we do a big gig, I'd want to be playing the pianos to get the piano sound in there, but because we don't really have the space, the Black Heart's quite a small venue, we're gonna strip it down a bit. But putting that together, once again, this was a song that Kier had written the first part, and boy,
and then we all kind of chipped in. It was that terminal. Beveridge will probably summarize it better than me, but it was almost like that final healing thing for the band. It sounds really cheesy, but it was like properly collaborative, in a way that we hadn't been before. So I came in with a little lick on it was actually a piano thing that I'd just written. I can't play the piano, but it was really basic. And then we just kind of built it up from there, and Drew was with us and he added a chorus, or we wrote a chorus together, and then Beveridge wrote this whole next bit, and then we all went back on all the different sections together. It was really cool.
I think a really strong thing about Something Terminal is it's the first time we've really showcased Drew's lead vocals. So the bass player, he sings the first chorus, and you can he's got such a different voice to me and Kier. He's got this very sort of tonally rich, deep, I don't know, he's a real singer like Drew. He did choir and stuff, so he's got this sort of really long, powerful voice, and that really made the first chorus, and then it kind of gave us everything that we needed to continue the song. He sings it with a lot of soul, and then it was like building blocks, but it wasn't like, oh, we need another part. It was like, then we go into this. We weren't ever thinking, oh, we need to make this long. It just happened, really. And we just felt, did it feel right to go here? And it's a song it's two songs. Partly Kier was writing, the original idea was about the sort of, I guess, the anxiety of, the time that we were living in, with COVID and stuff, Kier, you were talking about originally. And then I found that the lyrics just almost completely perfectly transposed onto, the band's life and what had happened to us. The sacrificial lamb of privileged men and all this sort of stuff. That's kind of what happened to us. We were sort of taken for a ride in the industry by a lot of people, and it kind of jaded us and ruined us. But the same thing was happening to the country with COVID, and now it's even worse. I mean, and it does feel like something terminal. Do you know what I mean? You feel like there's this really heavy, thing bearing down on everyone. But then it's a positive because it's trying to lift us up, so you've got that first miserable part of the song, and then it comes back in and it lifts everyone up. And then you go through the history of the band in that middle eight, and then the end is like a triumphant, this is a return, this is something good. And it doesn't have to be the best. It can just be something that brings joy to people and cheers us up. Like Kier says, we need a distraction these days.
Yeah, absolutely. This one definitely takes you on a journey, boys. No, you've got something to be proud of there. I think it's going to go down an absolute storm at this show later on. And I'll let you guys go and get ready for this show in a minute. I know you've got a big day of preparing. Before I do, though, it's the million-dollar question, isn't it? We've got these 2 new songs. What is the future looking like for you, boys? I don't know how much you want to tell me or whatever, but presumably this isn't one and done here tonight, right? Presumably there's more to come.
Well, definitely not for me. No, I'm joking, but I think me and Beveridge actually did a video about it. It's quite long that we're going to post as well. But like, for me, I think one thing I can say for sure is I've realized that in some shape or form, I need Fearless Vampire Killers to be in my life. So I can't really see a world where it won't be again, in whatever it might be, whether we're making a short film together one day and scoring it, or whether we're like doing a new album or doing another tour, whatever it might be, in whatever guise, I can't see a world where it's not part of my life again.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously would love to just, go back, 10 years and be where we were, in our career like that. But the world isn't like that anymore. Rock music isn't like that. There's the infrastructure around it has changed, and in a way that's good because it gives us an opportunity to go at our own pace, and when you're young, really young, you act like you've got no time, and then as you get a bit older, you start to realize there is actually a little bit more time than you thought. And it doesn't matter if you're 30 and you're still playing rock gigs, who cares? It doesn't change anything. The only important thing is making music that people love and enjoy. And we've proven that people still want to hear our music and they still want to come and see us play. And that's quite a magical place to be in. The idea that you have this opportunity to bring joy to maybe just 1,000 people, but you can bring joy to 1,000 people. That's a great position to be in. It's fantastic. So I think we're going to just endeavor to do that and provide as much, entertainment and happiness as we can, and see where that leads. That could lead to, Wembley Stadium, or that could lead to the Black Heart again in 10 years. And that's absolutely
either way, it's fine.
Either way, that's a good night out. You're going to have a good time either way, man. Lads, genuinely, I'm so impressed with these new tunes, and I know the fans are going to absolutely love them. So, I mean, all the best to you guys for this gig. I'm sure we'll chat again soon down the road. But yeah, have a great night tonight, all right?
Thank you very much, mate. Cheers.
Good to see you guys. All right, Fearless Vampire Killers, everybody.